All right, thank you so much for joining us on Standpoint. I am Adetunji Adeteye. In a few days from now, Lagosians will go to the polls to elect their representatives at the local level. Precisely, they'll be voting for councillors and chairmen into all the 20 local government areas and 37 local council development areas of Lagos State on July the 12th. And I tell you, that's what you call the basis of grassroots politics, because those are the direct representatives of the people. We'll look at that election alongside other issues that are already popping up, especially the functionality of local governments in Nigeria and then the clamor for autonomy amongst others. But first, let me give you a brief background to the story before we even start our discussions at all. Nigeria operates a three-tier system of government where the federal, the state, and the local government levels are meant, the local governments are meant to operate independent of one another. But the reverse is the case now. What you have is that states depend on the federal government for survival, while local governments depend solely on states. That means the federal government is the big brother or the father of all, as the case may be. Now, let's dig out more information. There are 774 constitutionally recognized local government areas in Nigeria. That's aside from the local council development areas created by states like Lagos, Osun, Ogun, and Oyo. And in recent times, the 774 council areas have been faced with a series of challenges which have made many Nigerians conclude that they should be reorganized. First is their independence from state governors. That's because elections are conducted by these governors who hitherto decide who eventually gets the ticket to run. They set up and appoint the electoral body, and hardly will you see a state in Nigeria where opposition parties win elections into local council areas. In fact, delegates at the last confab have suggested that INEC should be the one conducting local government elections in the country. Another issue is that of poor funding, and just yesterday, Gombe State Governor Ibrahim Dakwambo said that local governments lack the capacity to manage funds, and he argued that releasing more funds to them is unwise. Okay, so let's listen to the soundbite of some advocates of true federalism and local government autonomy in Nigeria. We'll just take that and we'll be right back.
What we need to do is to recommend the alteration of Section 7.1 by having a provision that will make it impossible for a state legislation to include in that law provided in that section any provision that will empower a state governor to dissolve a local government.
In the southern part of the country and the middle belt have been shortchanged by the numbers of local governments they have, and as such, federal government should go to where it belongs, to the states.
The governance is supposed to be closer to the people, and the local governments are the closest authority to the people. I suggest that the local governments be left as they are in the constitution, but the local government should be strengthened and given more autonomy so that they can to do what they are supposed to do.
All right, that's the position of some activists at the 2014 confab. But we'll go on a short break now, and when we return, I'll introduce my panel of discussants to you. Please stay with us. Glad to have you back. We're looking at the role of local governments in Nigeria and the challenges they are confronted with this time ahead of the local government elections in Lagos. But now I'm joined by my panel of discussants. I have with me a constitutional lawyer, Liberos Oshoma. Liberos, it's good to have you here.
My pleasure.
Yes, sitting close to Liberos is a politician and also an engineer, young at heart. Oh, still very young. Allow me, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thank you.
And then I have Dr. Augustine Arogundade, the immediate past chairman of Agbado Okildu Local Council Development Area in Lagos here. Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I think I should just start with you because you have been a local government chairman, and it will be right for me to know if indeed local governments in Nigeria, the 774 local governments, and then the local council development areas created by some states, if they have truly lived up to their billings, if they have delivered.
Well, in Lagos, in particular, the local government had worked. Talking about other part of the country, it may not have lived up to. And the reasons are not far-fetched. If you look at the formation of local government in Lagos State, looking at the census of 1963, 73 thereabouts, you see that Lagos had a population of about 5 million then, and 5.5 million. Kano had 5 million. And then after, Kano had created other states from his body. We have Jigawa. Kano is controlling about 44 local governments, while Jigawa had about 18. Lagos still remained with 20. So even the LCDA created from Lagos are far more than local governments in the parts of the north. So most of the local governments in the north may not be functional because the creation were done by those military boys when they are in government. They never look at those factors that could make local government work. But in Lagos and in some parts of the southern part of the country, it has functioned. It has functioned even more properly in Lagos.
I understand the reasons why you're talking about Lagos functioning, because you served as a local government chairman. But allow me, there's something about local governments in Nigeria. We know that it should be the closest form of government to the people. And you are aspiring to become a local government chairman. One wonders what you want to go do there.
I wonder why everybody keeps asking me this exact same question. The truth is, there is a gap that needs to be filled. Our people need a lot of things to be done for them. Fine, it has worked in the past, but we also need it to work better. There are a lot more things that can be done. And we need people that are more innovative. We need people that are more energetic. We need people that are aware of what people are going through. That is even the major reason I have chosen to run.
Okay, because it's not just about running, it's about development in the grassroots. How close are you to the grassroots people? Because that's what the kind of question that should come into anybody's mind. How close are you indeed to the grassroots?
Oh, okay, yeah. We're quite close to them. Okay, we've been running a project, it's called Project Renew, and it's been going on for a while. Project Renew is aimed at renewing the minds of the average Nigerian. And what we usually do is we have a seminar, we have a workshop, and we have a talent hunt. And it's been going on since last year, and we've had a very huge turnout.
All right. We'll still talk about the developments here. Liberals, you're the lawyer in the house, and why is it difficult for local governments to really function effectively? There's so many issues that have been highlighted. You listened to my preamble there. So many factors stopping local governments in Nigeria from functioning. What is the problem?
You just said it. There are so many factors stopping local government functionality. When local governments were created in 1976, it was created to be a third tier of government. But the big question is, are local governments third tiers of government in Nigeria? The answer is a big no. Because if you look at the Constitution, if you look at Section 4, Section 5, and Section 6, it talks about the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. And then you go to Section 7, it talks about local governments in Nigeria. And that's all there is to local government. And then, under that Section 7, it says that the administration, the finance and administration of the local government is placed squarely under the purview of the State House of Assembly. How do you make laws for a tier of government, you know, at the state level, and then you say it's a tier of government. And then if you now go to the schedule, to the constitution, you find out that there are functions outlined for local government in Nigeria. And most of those functions, including Lagos State, most of those functions, in fact, Lagos started it, are squarely, you know, now at the doorstep of the state's government. Take adverts, for example. Now, Lagos State government had taken over, you know, advert collection. Take rates, for example, apart from market stores.
There's a certain radio and
bicycle.
television. There's a certain radio and television
Who still
license.
rides bicycle?
There's a certain radio and television license fee that's meant to be collected by the local government.
I will get there. As at the time that section, that clause was inserted, bicycle licenses, what you had then were majorly bicycles and not cars. And so now that you have cars, you still retain bicycle licenses for local government who still ride bicycles. When the functions of the local government have been taken over by the states, and then the revenue of the local government have been taken over by the states, and so you reduce them to a salary collecting agency, paying agencies. And then that's why it is now possible for governors to determine who becomes local government chairman, who becomes councillor. Because, and then a sitting governor tells you that, you know, local government really, they don't have the capacity because they have reduced them to not having capacity. Okay. And so I started with 1976. If you look at 1976 up to even under Sani Abacha and co, the local government even did far better than we have from 1999, where the governors have reduced them to errand boys. And that's why, to answer your question directly, that's why local government find it difficult functioning in Nigeria until we look at it the other way around and run local governance squarely the way it should be run. The way you run federal government, you run state governments are run like big local governments here. And so the revenue that the federal government is collecting should come from the local government actually. And then the local government pays taxes to the state government, and the state government in return pays to the federal. Except you talk about mineral resources that like oil and mining, then you can now talk about joint permission, joint licensing. All right. But in terms of revenue, it should come from local
I would like Augustine to react to that, because you talked about states taking over the functions of the local government. He said the local governments in Lagos have really performed better than other states in Nigeria. But then he has just also thrown something to you. Is it true?
Well, it's true. What he said is true. I agree with him that some of the functions of local government are taken over by the states. But that nonetheless, like I said, the creation of more local government in the states, in Lagos State in particular, in Lagos State started it. It's a model for other states to emulate. The creation had enabled development to go to the grassroots. For example, looking at Agbado Okeodo, for example, where I was the chairman, when we have Alimosho, Agbado Okeodo was regarded as a rural area, a place that does not even need a development. Alimosho local government will never come to Agbado Okeodo area. It looks at Agbado Okeodo area as area that does not even need any governmental attention. But the creation of this LCDA by Lagos State had assisted Agbado Okeodo tremendously. If you go to Agbado Okeodo now, you will see that the development has been so rampant.
What exactly?
So what do we mean by, because when you talk about functionality, you are looking at, I think it's a relative terminology.
Because I'm wondering, what exactly do local governments in Nigeria do right now? Because if I go by what laborers have said, that state governments now play the roles expected of local governments.
No,
so what do you people do?
No, I agree that some of the revenue, like he said, were now being handled by the state. The impression the state had was that they had better trained personnel or professionals to handle some of these areas and generate more revenue. Some percentages of this revenue were given to local governments, like the former tenement rate, for example, that is now land use charges, advertisement and others. You know, when local governments were handling those aspects before, many local governments had no professional capacity to handle them properly. So what they are realizing was so meager that the state believes they have better technicalities to handle those aspects. So, but nonetheless, like I said, when you look at functionality, you must be looking at it from the relative terms. Because I know that some local governments, like I have said before, were created without any yardsticks, without any basis.
Okay.
Villages, they put some villages together and said this is a local government.
All right.
And when you have such creation,
Okay.
you cannot be talking about functionality because the viability of that local government is not even there in the first instance. But when in Lagos, like I said, which is a model for other states to emulate, there are yardsticks, there are bases for creating local government. Local governments in Lagos states are viable. They are viable. You cannot hear of Lagos State local government not paying their workers.
Okay.
We don't owe workers. And developmental.
Okay.
Looking at it from developmental point of view, you will see that infrastructural development in even those local government that were hindered to rural were now urbanized.
Okay, we'll definitely talk about the functionality of
Urbanized by the state government.
By both of us, by the combination. By the combination
of
Okay.
both states
by
and
the
local.
combination.
Allow me.
By the combination.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
We'll talk about development.
Yeah.
And you are an aspirant.
Yeah.
You're running for the position of a chairman. And if indeed the roles of a local government has been taken over, what then do you think, how then do you think you will fit in? That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, a state governor, just yesterday, you listened to that in my preamble, said local governments cannot handle resources. They cannot even perform. So they should not even give local government chairmen more money, more funds. So if you have that opportunity to now take over, how do you want to prove that governor wrong?
Okay, I think the issue starts with getting the right people in the right positions. If you have a square peg in a square hole, then you have everything well sorted out. So I think the issue is that we have been having people that have not been able to deliver in the past, hence his comment. But for us that already have a plan and that already, okay, he was saying something about staff, the Lagos state government having better staff to handle some of those areas. I'm thinking we can actually train the council staff to handle all of these things. These things they're not rocket science. These are things that you can actually sit down, plan, and execute.
If these things work out in Lagos because of the cosmopolitan nature of Lagos, do you think it can work elsewhere? A place, I don't think I should start mentioning names. Okay, let's go to far north. Let's go to some other places, other states in the east, in the southwest here. What works in Lagos, do you think can work there?
I think it can. I think it can, because in all these places you still have people that can deliver. The question is getting the right people to do the right job.
Okay, I'll go to Liberals. To grant local government full autonomy, you need the State House of Assembly to still play another role, even though you condemned that part of the Constitution that assigned the entire role to the National Assembly, but you still need them. How can the State House of Assembly or State Houses of Assembly now help out?
They will never. Let me bust your bubble. They will never. Because it's unfortunate. I quite appreciate the position of my two colleagues here, but from the chairman's position, you can see that his hands are very tied as a politician, and so that's why you said developmental. Developmental is vague. It should be reduced to, this is where we work, this is what we do. Yeah. Apart from community health centers, grade roads. I don't think it is the duty of state government to go tar a road for Agbado Ijayi. It is the duty of
local
the local government.
yeah.
That is, if you say, oh, you don't have capable staffs, you reduce local government to that level where it becomes a dumping ground for people that are not capable. Was that the way the local government were in 1979? The answer is no. And then talking about the North and South dichotomy and divide, everybody must not be cosmopolitan. There are some local governments that if you encourage agriculture in this local government, you'll be able also to get much more than Lagos is getting from those local government. But because we now reduce local government to, you know, children who look up to their father every month to go collect allocation. And so now we look at local government from allocation allowances that are allocated to them. It shouldn't be. Local government should generate the revenue, and depending on their capacity. And also
but the governor made a good point. He said educated Nigerians don't want to work in local government.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
No, except you tell me.
Because when you, even some Nigerians don't want to work at the state government. Because when you reduce local government affairs to, like I said, a dumping ground for people without capacity, and then what somebody like you, for example, you get to a place and everybody in that place, the highest you can get there is a school cert holder. And then you come with novel ideas and everybody tells you it won't work here. It doesn't work that way. As chairman, he will tell you. And so that's why you find out that some chairmen come on board and it is difficult for them to even function because the people surrounding them are people who do not know their right from their left. Yeah. All they know is Twalisa. And so, and that's why what we need, why is our state functioning?
Because I need Liberals, before you continue, I think you should answer a question. I'll allow you.
Wait, can I just chip in something?
Okay, quickly make that
yeah,
point. But I want,
he has a major point.
You know what, Wumi? You know why I would like him to make this point quickly? Because he served as a chairman. Yeah. And I would like to know how he's been able to manage those set of people that Liberals identified. Yeah. How did you work effectively with people like that? Because you said, oh, in Lagos, all the local governments work well.
They function well. I think the barrister missed it there. The point I was saying, I agree with him when he talked about the aspect of revenue that are taken over by the state. And that I've explained the reason or the rationale. But when you talk about performance, his own thinking was that roads were being tarred by the state. The local government tarred roads. At least, and we sometimes collaborate also with the state to tar some roads.
Local government tarred roads. Which of the roads are we talking about? Link roads, major roads?
Local government roads. Local government had roads, state had roads, federal had roads. Even within a local government setting, there are some roads that are federal roads. There are some roads that are state roads. And there are roads that are local government roads. We tarred local government roads. At least I can boast of tarring more than 4 or 5 roads when I was during my first time in office. And I can also tell you that the state collaborated with us to tar some roads, which are majorly state roads in those local governments. So it depends. But I'm telling you categorically that looking at Lagos, because like he said, most of the local government chairmen in some other parts of the country, like where the governor was saying that the local government had no capacity, there are no, you cannot get serious professionals. If we have local government that is manned by a PhD holder with who is a professional, okay, you cannot say that local government had no staff.
Is it about the certificate or just the performance or the focus?
Before even I came into local government, I was a director in the state. Okay. I was a state director, and I came to local government as a chairman. Because you don't look at, that's why I said Lagos is more sophisticated. Okay. We have lawyers, We have engineers who are chairmen of
And
local
that was probably why I asked you
We
if
have
some of the
professionals.
things happening in Lagos can be replicated in other states. But
That is why I said Lagos,
Our-
because I said it even from beginning.
Yes.
That when you look at the functionality from Lagos, you cannot compare it to some other states.
Okay, I'll allow you
Yes.
make your points. Just hold on to that thought. All right, we'll go on another break, and when we return, we'll continue with our discussions on the functionality of local government in Nigeria. Stay with us.
States, including of Lagos, where it is ripe for local government elections, there must be conducted local government elections, and the caretaker committees must be immediately dissolved because they are unconstitutional. 2, immediate commencement of impeachment proceedings by the House of Assembly against any governor who is frustrating the democratic existence of local government councils in any state of the federation.
We should fight for the autonomy of local government. If local government have autonomy, no state government want to present local government is going to action because they know they cannot use them or dictate to them anyhow. And if these local government are given their money directly, they are allowed to elect their officers without interference or undue interference of state government. Then the state local government will not be a problem to any national assembly.
All right, there you have it. Demands for autonomy for local governments in Nigeria. And that's what we've been talking about in the last 20-25 minutes or thereabout. And of course, we'll continue that discussion now. But we're joined by Comrade Wale Balogun. He's also a politician and he calls himself a public servant. Comrade, good to have you here.
It's my
and
pleasure.
I have Liberos Oshoma, I have Olaomi Oyedeji and Dr. Augustine Arogunbiade. We've been looking at this together and we will continue right now. But first, Comrade Balogun, you just listened to that soundbite talking about autonomy for local government. Is that realistic? I know you're probably also running for a seat in one of the local governments in Lagos State.
Local government autonomy is laudable, but it is not feasible. As long as Nigeria remains a pseudo-federal union, as long as the constitution is so crafted in a way that local government is an appendage of state government. Talking of autonomy, we're just, in essence, I'm saying that the constitution made local government a subject of state government. In the situation whereby for us to have a local government, it has to be determined by the state. Whereas in other climes, it is the people that normally agitate for the creation of local government, where they have a population of 100 to 120,000 people. People who agitate for it, that yes, we want this. Not a situation where I had Dr. Arogun talking about, in essence, I'm saying that it is not feasible presently, as we are in Nigeria today, for us to have an autonomous local government. And it is, I don't believe that local government that we lack the capacity to develop. It was because in the past and presently, local government, like my barrister friend has said, has become a doping ground of Holdux and Ari. It has become a mere something of for patronage. People who are used by political leaders, you just accommodate them at that level. So you have a situation where they cannot give what they lack.
Okay, let's quickly take this call. Akpan is calling us from Lagos. Akpan, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, let's have your contribution.
Yeah, thank God the erudite lawyer, Barrister Shoma, which is very popular in our public opinion. And I want to just ask, does it mean that until our 99th constitution is overhauled before we have good effectiveness of local government performance? Because like Comrade, the last speaker spoke, he said as far as the structure remains the same, that we cannot have headway. For instance, I think even if it remains like this, corruption is taken away, and how do I put it now? Commitment is being put in place of corruption. I think that the local government will still perform. Like, for instance, I'm from a and local government. I've been saying this over and over again. Some time ago, my local government chairman, no longer in place, was living in Calabar capital and be shuttling from Calabar capital to my local government. So I don't know how that will work. From Etina to Calabar capital is more than 2 hours drive. So I mean, it's not all about overhauling. If there is commitment there, everybody will perform.
All right, thank you very much, Akman. Thank you. Okay, Barrister Oshoma, that question is actually for you.
You see, thank God my friend and brother here also had brought, in this light what I've been saying. The way the constitution is crafted, if you look at I can't address a local government as a tier of government. You look at the state has executives, you have, by virtue of the constitution, you have executive, you have legislatures, you have judiciary. The same is replicated at the federal. But look out for your constitution and then look out for the powers of the chief executive officer of the local government, how he can be removed, or the speaker or the leader of this local government assembly, how he can be removed. These are nowhere spelled out. So what the local government did by virtue of Section 7, they surreptitiously placed the powers of this local government under the State House of Assembly. And so what the State House of Assembly now do by virtue of that section, they create laws for administration of local government. And by virtue of some of these laws, if the state governor feels, look, the local government elections were not properly conducted, he can by fiat just sack everybody. And then you now create an office, a commission, a ministry of local government affairs. Imagine creating a ministry of state affairs at the federal government. Do you think the governors will like it? And so this is what is playing out. And that's why some of us are of the opinion that no, you can't sustain governance like this because all governance is local. The only way government can get close to the people is from local government. That's your senator representing you in Abuja. It will be difficult for him to get close to you because the senatorial zone is wider. But local governments are smaller. And that is why we should be agitating that whatever belongs to the local government should be gathered from the local government. And for the administration of the local government, first and foremost, with that, you will attract professors to become councillors in the local government. With that, you attract PhD holders to, instead of going to Senate, would rather say, I want to impact on the people, I will go for councillorship. Until you do that, you will just have this scale, like a comrade said, this patronage thing, come and go.
I hope that answers Akman's question. But let me. I was going to ask you a question. I have a question.
I want to.
Okay, you need to react.
I want to come in there. You know, when you talk about local governments maybe being an appendage to the state, yes, it is the constitutional fault, and the constitutional fault does not even start and ends in state-local government relationship. It is even the federalism. What type of federalism are we practicing? Are we practicing the real federalism? Looking at the federal, for example, the shock of the economy of the country is rested on the federal, whereas the activities and the people were in the local government level. So if we are talking about that constitution, it should be looked at properly and restructure the constitution in such a way that there will be less
concentration at
the federal level, so that concentration should come down. So yes, that is the fault. So if you can do that, then the local government will get its own autonomy. You cannot be talking of autonomy now without first of all looking at even the federalism Nigeria is practicing.
Okay, let me go to Olawumi now. Nigerians know for sure that there are key things, a few things that local governments engage themselves in. Talk about primary health care, talk about primary education. What else is needed? Those are not just the few things that should be done at the local government level. For instance, I know that each local government in Nigeria has almost every unit that exists at the state level and at the federal level. They have legislative arm. They have political appointees who are called supervisors. So what else should Nigerians be expecting from these people apart from just immunizing, visiting people's home and giving them immunization and also just building one primary school somewhere?
Yeah, you know, when I was giving my manifesto, they said it was grandiose and that I needed to bring it down to the immediate things people need, which is
when you say they, who are you talking about here?
I can't mention names right now, but when I was giving that, a lot of people said, okay, this is grandiose, fine, you have a great plan, but then again, people need immediate things. And I think one of the major problems we have is that our people are not ready to look ahead. They're not ready to even plan for the future. What we're still practicing is stomach politics. So people just want to eat immediately right here and now. And I'm saying fine.
You call that stomach infrastructure?
Exactly, yeah, stomach infrastructure. And then I say, if I give you fish, the fish will finish. But if I teach you how to fish, you won't keep coming back to me for fish. Do you understand? And you can, in turn, train other people to fish. So instead, apart from the primary healthcare centers, apart from the one primary school, which really these days, we don't even get the one primary school. You probably just give them school uniforms and bags that can be sorted out with, say, 500,000 naira to 1 million, and then the media covers it and everybody thinks, wow, you've done something fantastic. But there are laboratories that needs to be built in the schools. Okay. There are a lot of things that needs to be done. Okay, we're looking at, there are a lot of vices growing in the society. Depression is on the increase in Nigeria, and thank God we're beginning to see that there is a need for all of that. Right. And so we need rehabilitation centers in our local government. Okay. We need a whole lot of things. Young people are into businesses.
All right.
All right.
Sorry, one more thing. As a young person, this is I'm very passionate about this because I'm an entrepreneur also, and I know that young people need space to run their businesses. And so I'm like, okay, fine, we need the business hub for young people in Surulere at least, so that you can run your business at a reduced rate, and then you know that your capital is not over at the board. All
right, I better go to you, Wali Balogun. It's one thing to have lofty ideas. It's another thing for you to have the opportunity to implement such. There's been accusations of corruption at the local government level. You call yourself a public servant, and I'm sure you're probably also vying for a political position. Now, how do you reconcile the corruption level, the rate of corruption at the local government level, and then also implement your own great ideas as a candidate?
A fish is rotten from the head. I think what is happening at the federal level is manifesting at the local level. And unfortunately too, the real government anywhere in the world is the local government. Yep. There's no state without local government. As far as I'm concerned, the state governor and their structures are just joint administrator of the local government. Whereas at the federal level, they are to administer the state. And because whatever comes out, either resources, either manpower, are from the local level. You see, you cannot divorce the level of corruption, either at the local government, at the state, or at the federal level, from the neoliberal economic policies that is the order of the day in Nigeria today. Neoliberalism is the father of corruption. When in the past, it is the weak consciousness that we have as a people. But when you see this question of commercialization and privatization, when it comes to the front burner and our public utilities are being sold to the highest bidder, it then becomes at the high. You're not thinking of the self. When you're thinking of the self, you're not thinking of the collective. So corruption will continue to thrive. So I'm in a sense, I'm saying that corruption is not limited to local government level. If we continue to manage, if we continue to implement neoliberalism as a people, as a country, corruption will continue.
Okay, let's look at something else.
So we need a new social order entirely.
A new social order you want and you're clamoring for, and yes. I think you also just nodded to that.
No, I agree with you.
Okay, liberals. Now, that's another issue, and that's talking about the inability of some states to even conduct local government elections, because the governors just decide when they want to conduct those elections. And also, one of the recommendations of the just concluded CONFAP 2014 precisely is that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, should take over the responsibility of conducting elections at the local level, not just state governors setting up boards to conduct these elections. And in all of this, if you listen to my preamble, there are reports that hardly will you see an opposition candidate win just a single political position at the local government level. Why is this happening?
Why? It first and foremost, to answer your question directly on conducting elections for local government, we are clamoring for autonomy for local government. At the same time, you are tying them to the apron string of, you know, an electoral body at the center. You see? You know what stops? Just imagine you, the president, saying, "I will conduct state election when I deem fit." That's what's happening at the local government level. You know, the National Assembly makes a law, and the president can sack governors. Do you know how disastrous that would be? That is the disaster we are creating at the local government level. And to also address the issue of winning election, because these elections, people are not interested. Conduct state federal government election today in Nigeria. I call Nigeria a big local government. Conduct the federal government election, there will be large turnout. Then you get down to state level where it should affect the people more. The turnout will reduce. And then you get to local government level, like, what did they do?
Okay, Libros, please hold your thought. Let's quickly take this call. Idris from Kaduna. Idris, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, my friend. Well done. You are doing a very good job there.
I didn't get that. Please repeat yourself.
I'm saying well done. I'm calling from Kaduna Engineer Idris here.
Oh, thank you very much. Please, yes, let's have your contribution.
My take is that, like we all know, there is a subsisting Supreme Court judgment that says that a creation of interim management by governors of the local government is illegal. So the worry now is that who actually carries out, enforcement in situations like this? That pronouncement had been made several months ago, sometimes last year. And today, like we have in Kaduna, even our governor, when he came in, he said he was going to conduct local government election in 3 months. Today, we know he had 3 interim management in local government. Now, the last 3 has been dissolved, and then he probably was going to do election in July. And right now, we're in May. It is very unfeasible for him to do election in July because he needs to give 90 days for election. He has even introduced a new system of EVS, electronic voting system, which of course you need a lot of sensitization before you can actually understand what method of voting is going to use. But that's not my worry. I want that barrister to help us here because I heard the last guy who you put up was saying that governor could be impeached. They have pocketed their local government, the state assembly, most of them, like in Kaduna here. Our governor, unfortunately, has pocketed the state assembly. So the issue of generating impeachment does not even arise. So how can we have a substitute Supreme Court judgment that says the installation of interim management in local government is illegal, and yet you keep on having it? So what is the problem?
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Idris. Thank you. Okay, I see that you kind of disagree with Idris on that.
Yes.
Okay, let's have you.
I think it is not correct to say that the Supreme Court declared the creation of local government, local council development areas as illegal.
No, not local government.
That was not his point.
That was what he said.
No, the point is the creation of local government administrators.
Yes,
administrators. You can't sack a democratically elected. Because Section 9 says that.
I can agree with that, but if he's talking of maybe they are not constitutional, no. I think that is wrong.
No, but it was actually talking about sole administrators.
Let me address the question he raised. Say, look, there is a subsisting Supreme Court judgment. How do we enforce that Supreme Court judgment to ensure that governors obey? Because it's part of our laws now, that you cannot sack a democratically elected local government. Even the tenure of local government as we speak,
it's now up to 4 years.
Apart from that, it is not uniform.
Apart from Lagos,
Lagos is 4 years.
Lagos is exactly 4 years.
It is not uniform. It's not uniform. Some states will do 3 years, some will do 4 years. You know all of that. And so you have the local government Algon. You know, that matter was a matter instituted by them. And so the responsibility now is on them also, in collaboration with the lawyers that handled the matter, to ensure that that judgment is enforced in all the local government, the 774 local government area and the council development areas in Nigeria. That's a starting point. Because in India, some of these issues that we seek constitutional amendment for, it was the court interpretation that gave vent to them. It is not the National Assembly. And so, when courts interpret this rule this way, at subsequent amendment, the National Assembly will have no other option but to accommodate these interpretations by the Supreme Court. And that's also how we start to begin to gradually win autonomy for local government. But if we're waiting for a National Assembly to amend the Constitution to grant autonomy, when some of these people have turned the Senate to a retirement home for former governors, and some of them also are vying for governorship, and they also want a situation where they'll be able to manipulate their state house of assemblies, then we'll have a strong thing coming.
All right.
What I want to comment on is on this saying that INEC should conduct local government election. That will be creating more problem. You will realize that because of the fact that this country was being run by the military for a very long time, the unitary command or unitary system is still part of our culture. That is why, when you're talking about democracy, I agree that if we really want to practice democracy, the aspect of using caretaker committees or sole administrators may not be ideal. But even if we want to get out of unitary, which we have run for so many years, maybe we ran unitary government in Nigeria for more than 28 years, 30 years. And even some of the people today that are running governments are product of unitary. We have very few who can say they know what democracy is all about. And the people that colonize, yes, you met the military.
Yeah,
you met the military, and that's why they are talking about INEC. That's why they are talking about INEC. If you are now giving the function of conducting local government election to INEC, then you are complicating this.
I know. She disagrees with you, though. But let's hear your view.
No, because the truth is this: if the local government is going to stand on its own, then INEC should conduct the election.
No, that is federal.
Please, let me. You give it just legal interpretation. Please.
Yes. What we need to do, we have collapsed institutions, even at the states and the local government. People are not interested in local government affairs. That is why you see a clean sweep. We need to ensure that people are interested. Once people are interested, it's participation.
So it's not all about who conducts the election?
No.
Then
there were times in this country where we believed that Ikubent won't lose elections.
Then how come we don't have the opposition winning any political position? Are you saying that the opposition do not exist at the local government level? If you say there is no interest.
Sorry, quickly. Can I quickly say one thing? As we speak now, even in Nigeria, she said it is stomach infrastructure. The moment you have a party in power, every other person moves into that party.
Okay, let him make his point.
The only government Nigerians knew is at the local government. It's unfortunate that most of the people that are leading our local government do not have the mandate of the people, because there's no pact between them and the people in the first instance. And that is why many things go wrong. And that is the fortunate thing for Yaba people at this period, because they see my intervention coming as chairman as election as a revolution. They knew.
I was going to ask you, now, this panel have stylishly concluded that, okay, local government chairmen live at the mercy of state governors. Are you going to live at the mercy of your state governor? What principles, what policies are you bringing in that would not make you live at the mercy of your state governor?
I have the mass of the people behind me.
Is it just about the people you have behind you?
That is it. Every government all over the world, the economy of a state thrives when you have the people behind you. When the people support your programs and policies. You can see what is happening in Yaba presently. There is a social movement. People were ready. The Walibalu will not depend on the party structure to galvanize people into action. And that is what we are doing. Sell your ideas, what you want to the people, not just the kangaroo or something. Tell the people what you want to do for them. Let the people rally around you. Then you'll be able to implement people's policy. At the time, people just go into the street and they'll be waving flags, But this time around, we were moving. Because what we think are the felt needs of the people are not the area needs. And that's why they are going to support us.
All right, thank you very much, Wale Balogun.
Sorry,
and I think,
one last...
that means you have to make it in less than 20
to
seconds.
The people now, the people. They should understand, Nigerians should understand that the government that is closest to them, that we provide all these things that they call on government for, is the local government election.
All right, thank you.
And as Lagos approach the local government election, we all should be interested.
All right, Wumi, you want to make your last take?
Yeah, I just want our people to expect more from their leaders and not just settle for less. And don't beg for fish, learn how to fish.
All right, thank you,
My last word to our people, particularly people in Agbado Okudu, as Dr. Arogun, that they will be coming back for the second time, expect more dividends of democracy.
Oh, that's a campaign.
Thank you. No,
all right, thank you very much, gentlemen and lady, for being a part of the show today. We really appreciate your coming around.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so very much. And also, we thank you so much for staying with us on the show today. We thank you, and we hope that you'll be with us again next week, Saturday, when we'll come your way again with another interesting topic or another big story that will be making headlines that week. Also, don't forget that you can watch a repeat broadcast of Standpoint on Sunday at 3 p.m. on TVC News Nigeria. Until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am Adetunji Adeteye. Bye for now.
Thank you.